Alright, so this is going to be my 2024 NFL award predictions. Let's get started. Alright, so starting off for my defensive rookie of the year, I'm going to put 5 guys on here, and then I'll tell you who I think will win. So first up is Laiati Latu from the Colts, Dallas Turner from the Vikings, Byron Murphy from the Seahawks, Chop Robinson from the Dolphins, and then Quinyon Mitchell from the Eagles. So out of all these guys, you got four defensive linemen here, which it usually does go to a defensive lineman just because they can make the more immediate impact, or like an outside linebacker, but that kind of takes the same role as a defensive end in most cases. So that's usually what it goes to, but I'm putting Quinyon Mitchell on here too because I think he's going to be an elite rookie corner and at least get some votes. But yeah, overall, I'm going to give this one to Dallas Turner. I think he is probably the best defensive player on the Minnesota Vikings roster. They don't have a lot of great guys on that team, so I think he's going to make an immediate impact, and it's going to be felt by every team he goes up against because he is probably the guy for offensive linemen to watch out for. Next up will be the offensive rookie of the year. I got Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Nabers, and Keon Coleman. So Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels obviously are both quarterbacks. They both have an upper hand because of quarterback bias and stuff. So they're definitely going to be in contention as long as they both, play relatively decent. Now Harrison, Nabers, and Coleman, I feel like all could be very, very good this season. They all very well could be wide receiver ones on their own team and each have 1,000 yards or so, which would be really good for being rookies for sure. But out of all those guys, I would say Marvin Harrison has the best chance of those receivers. But overall, I'm going to give it to Caleb Williams. I think quarterback bias is going to win him over, and I think he is going to do really, really good this year. Then we got the comeback player of the year. There's a lot of guys I feel like could be on this list, but I got Aaron Rodgers, Nick Chubb, Kirk Cousins, Anthony Richardson, and Joe Burrow. Also guys like Sam Darnold could maybe be on this list because he was just, not very good in recent years. He's going to be kind of like that Geno Smith guy if he plays good, because Geno Smith was basically back at quarterback for a few years, just like Sam Darnold has been. And then if Sam Darnold suddenly plays really good this year, he definitely could have a case, but I don't expect him to play that good. So out of all these guys, I think the most likely answer is either Aaron Rodgers or Nick Chubb, just because they missed the most time. Kirk Cousins and Joe Burrow still played half the season. Anthony Richardson, only a second-year guy, and only played a few games last year, so I don't really think he's going to be up there. I think it's going to be between Aaron Rodgers and Nick Chubb. But I'm going to give it to Aaron Rodgers. He played 3 snaps last year, and he's a quarterback. That obviously is going to help him too. And as long as he plays a good year and leads this Jets team to the playoffs, I think he's going to easily win the comeback player of the year. Then we got the coach of the year. We got Jim Harbaugh from the Chargers, Matt Eberflus of the Bears, Raheem Morris of Atlanta, Robert Saleh of the Jets, and then Mike Macdonald of Seattle. I think all 5 of these teams are going to be good and finish with a winning record. So that definitely automatically makes some of these guys in contention there. Mike Macdonald, rookie head coach. Raheem Morris, I believe, is a rookie head coach too. So obviously they, if they can take over and lead their team to the playoffs in the first year, it's obviously going to get them some looks for coach of the year. Robert Saleh, the Jets team has not been good recently. If they're good this year, he could get some praise in that. But honestly, I think that's going to go more towards Aaron Rodgers rather than Robert Saleh. So I think it's really going to be between Jim Harbaugh and Matt Eberflus. And I'm going to give this to Matt Eberflus. The Bears have a lot of extra talent coming in this year from last year, but overall, I think if they win 10 games and make the playoffs, I think unless one of these other teams does really, really good, then I think it's going to be Matt Eberflus's job to win this thing. Then we got Defensive Player of the Year. I got T.J. Watt, Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, Nick Bosa, and Sauce Gardner. I think Myles Garrett won it last year. T.J. Watt, Micah Parsons, Nick Bosa have all been, all 4 of those guys have been in contention for the last few years. Sauce Gardner, it usually is not going to go to a defensive back, but I think Sauce Gardner is going to be really good this year and at least get some votes. Other guys you could name here is like Aiden Hutchinson. I think he could be in contention, but he did not crack my top 5 personally. I think it is going to come down between T.J. Watt and Micah Parsons, and I'm going to give this one to T.J. Watt. I think he should have won it last year. I think he'll probably play really, really good this year again, and finally win his Defensive Player of the Year this season. Then we got the Offensive Player of the Year. We got Christian McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase. I have no quarterbacks on this list because, the way things have been recently, the MVP is basically a quarterback award, so I don't think that a quarterback should be able to win Offensive Player of the Year. Since really no other position player has a chance for MVP, I think Offensive Player of the Year should be exclusively non-quarterbacks, because other than that, the Offensive Player of the Year could just be like a supplementary, like a compensation, award for being second place in the MVP voting as a quarterback, and that just doesn't seem right to me. So I don't have any quarterbacks on this list. But out of all these guys, Christian McCaffrey, I have a feeling he's probably going to get injured. Tyreek Hill won it last year. Justin Jefferson very well could win it. Jamar Chase and CeeDee Lamb, obviously, all these guys are really, really good. Personally, I don't think it's going to be McCaffrey. I don't think Hill's going to repeat. I don't think Justin Jefferson is going to have an amazing, amazing year because Sam Darnold's his quarterback. Jamar Chase probably play really well, and CeeDee Lamb is going to play really well. So I think it's going to come down to those two guys. I'm going to give it to CeeDee Lamb. I think he's going to take a bigger role in this Cowboys offense because they do have less weapons than last season. So I think he's going to be absolutely phenomenal this season and win Offensive Player of the Year. So then our last award, obviously, is going to be the MVP. I got Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott, and Lamar Jackson. So obviously, Lamar Jackson won it last year. I don't think he's going to be good enough to repeat. I mean, it was kind of a subpar MVP battle last season anyways, so Lamar would have to be, probably a bit better than he was last year to end up winning this award. I don't think he's going to be that much better. Dak Prescott probably going to be a little bit worse than last year, but he was certainly, top 2, probably MVP conversation last year. A guy like Joe Burrow, I mean, he was injured last year, but he's probably going to be in MVP conversation for a while, as long as he plays good every year, which he should be because he's pretty good. Josh Allen, kind of the same boat there, but he does have a lackluster receiving core, but that also feel like helps his MVP case this season, because if they go 11 or 6 or 10 and 7 and win their division with this receiving core, I think that's going to give Josh Allen a really, really good narrative there. And Patrick Mahomes, if Patrick Mahomes is going to be in the conversation even if he doesn't win the thing. But overall, I'm going to give it to Joe Burrow. I think he's going to have the best year out of all these quarterbacks. I mean, obviously some of these guys can be very, very close, and I'm not saying just because Joe Burrow might have better stats, I don't think he's a better quarterback than some of these guys. I still think Mahomes is the best QB in the league, but he can't win MVP every year, just like last season. So I think Joe Burrow is going to have an amazing season and win MVP. So that is going to be it for the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check out my other videos on this channel, and goodbye.